Well, we're out on the back patio today, and today's project is going to be to try to help the deer. It's middle of July, flies are bad, and I want to help the deer with the fly problem. When they come up to feed here on the back porch, you can probably see there's corn there on the concrete. I throw corn out the back door throughout the day. Whenever I see animals out here, I throw them out some corn, and we sit at the kitchen table inside the window there, and we just love to watch the animals out here. We got a lot of turkey that come up, a lot of deer that come up. Right now the deer's got babies. You know, there's a couple of sets of twins we've been seeing. It's just, those are super cute. But the deer are just covered up with flies. It doesn't seem like any of the other animals are really bothered by them. So I want to try to help the deer. What I did already a few weeks ago to try to help the deer was I hung some fly traps out here, thinking that as the deer were here eating on the back porch, that the fly traps would draw some of the flies off of them, and that didn't work very well at all. The traps, I left them hang for 4 or 5 days. They didn't seem like they caught a lot of flies, but what they did do is freak the deer out. What I hadn't considered was that those fly traps work because they put out a terrible odor, and that odor draws the flies to the trap. Well, that's what, if without that odor, the trap would just be a bag of water hanging in the backyard, and it wouldn't do anything. But when you put that water in there, it makes this bait packet in there smell, and it's a terrible, like, rotten meat odor. It really is something I hadn't considered at all. But the deer were freaked out by that smell. So there were deer that they wouldn't even come into the yard. So anyhow, that didn't work. I think the next thing I want to try here is I want to put a cattle rub up, sort of a cattle rub, but for the deer. You can see I've got posts driven in the ground there. Just set those posts yesterday. There's one here. So on this side of the patio, we come around here. The deer don't really walk through this area too much. There's a table here. It's kind of congested. Normally when the deer come into the yard, they come around here and they either come in from this side or they come up from the trail down there and they come up from that side. So these two sides really. I'm going to run strings across from, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 strings from this post to that post to try to keep them sectioned off here. I want them to be able to see in there. I want them to see that the corn's there, and I want them to be able to see me at the door, because a lot of times they're in the yard when I throw it out. So I don't want to put up like a big panel or anything. I'm going to do the same thing over there from that post to that post, just a couple of pieces of rope just to try to keep the deer from going through that area. And I'm going to hang my rub device between those 2 posts. This is going to be a piece of rope with some cloth dangling down, and I'm going to saturate that cloth with fly spray. This is stuff that I bought. It's sold for livestock, and it's made to do exactly what I'm doing here. So we're just going to do what farmers do on their cattle. We're going to do that for the deer here, and we're going to see if that works. So I'm going to go ahead and get the ropes put up, get the all the cloth and everything put up. I'll show you what I'm going to use for the concentrate and how we're going to mix that up. Then I'll show you some clips of kind of after. We'll see how the deer are doing. So this is going to be a big experiment. I don't know if it's going to work at all or not, but I'll show you a clip of some deer that I made yesterday to show you how bad the problem is. Hopefully you'll be able to see the flies. There was a doe and 2 fawns that came up here yesterday, and I took a little clip just to show you guys. So I'll put that in right here. Well, I hope it's showing up just how many flies are on those deer out there. Okay, so hopefully you can see just how bad those flies are. So that's what we're going to try to alleviate. So that's going to be the before, and hopefully we'll have some real good after footage. So stick around here, guys. Well, here's the setup. I got it sort of roped off on this side. Again, I don't want it to be a big, scary sort of barricade, because it's already a lot different than they're used to out here. All right, well, here's the concentrate we're going to use and the bottle that we're going to mix it up in. This is a ironing spray bottle, I think is how that's labeled. I picked that up at Walmart for $1 or $2. It's pretty handy because it's got graduations in ounces over here as well as milliliters, so really good for mixing stuff up in. I already got some water in it. This is the concentrate we're going to be using. It's called Prozap Insectrin X. The thing to really focus on here is the active ingredient is permethrin 10%. So I flipped this, it's got a big long label of how to mix it up and how to use it and everything. I went ahead and read the label. Essentially, it looks like it's safe for all kinds of livestock other than you could use it on your dog, but don't use it on your cats. You can use it on horses and cows and looks like sheep and goats and, you know, pretty much kind of whatever you want to, except for cats for whatever reason. So seemed like the most common recommended solution strength was 19 parts water to 1 part of this to get a 0.5% permethrin solution. So that's how I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to mix it just a little bit stronger. I got 18 ounces of water in the bottle there. Calls for 19. So anyhow, it's pretty handy. It's got a little measuring thing here on the bottle. So I'm going to go ahead and draw up an ounce of that, dump it into this 8 ounces or 18 ounces of warm water, shake it up real good, and I'll meet you out on the back patio. I feel like I'm wasting a lot doing it this way. I think I'm going to put the camera down, hold the strip tight at the bottom with one hand, and then spray it with the other hand. Okay, well there's a setup. I saturated the rags pretty good. The stuff does have a little bit of a smell, so we're going to see if the smell bothers them. I'm going to go in the house and I'm going to throw out quite a bit more corn, make it really enticing to come over here, and call out to them, and we'll see what happens. Come on! Come on! Well, that didn't take but a minute. We'll see what happens here. Now, the wind was blowing that way a little bit before, because when I walked around from the side of the house before, I could smell that. I could smell that stuff a little bit from that side yard. She may or may not be picking up that scent already. It has definitely got her attention, all these strings up over here. There she's trying to smell it. I'm going to throw some more corn out there off the side here, maybe try to draw her in. Come on! Come on! Well guys, we're going to have to call this one a fail or chalk it up as a learning experience, I guess. You can see during the time lapse that I took down the gateway that had the those rags that were, you know, saturated in that fly spray. I took them down because the deer just absolutely would not come in under them. They were kind of freaked out about the whole setup with the ropes and the posts and the smell. You know, they weren't having that. And then those pieces of rag kind of drifting in the wind a little bit. They were not coming in under that. So I think I've been playing this game now for about 3 days with this setup. So anyhow, you know, I push it as far as I feel comfortable. I don't want to break these deer's sort of cycle. You know, they're kind of used to coming up here for this corn. You know, we've got at least 2 does that are nursing twins, and at least 1 or 2 does that I know of that have singles, that I've seen them up here with singles. So I don't want to make it harder on any of these mama deer to get the food that they need for their babies right now. So I just took the whole thing down, and no more than I did. It seemed like the deer have been coming up in the yard now this afternoon since I've taken that down pretty normally almost, I guess. I've seen 1 or 2 of them come up out of the woods, come up here, and they're just looking. They know for the last 3 days that there's something going on up here. And a couple of them kind of came up here, checked everything out. They turned around and went back down in the woods, which is not normal. So hopefully they'll get back into their normal routine now that all this stuff is gone. And it was a learning experience. So the fly traps didn't work. The fly rub didn't work. I guess we're just going to let Mother Nature and the flies kind of do their thing. So we're helping the deer by feeding them, you know, so I guess that's enough. I hope I helped you with this, guys. If you're looking to do something like this around your place, you know, this maybe give you some ideas of what not to do. If I did help you, click that thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, normally I'm working on stuff, but you never know what I'll get into around home here. Click the subscribe button. Until the next video, guys, keep on tinkering.